Tiger fans, Greenville is a wonderful place to call home, and take it from me, a great place to grow your family. The housing market can be an extremely competitive and intimidating place if you don't have the right agent. That's why we recommend our friend and local agent Lana Smith with Live Upstate SC Real Estate. She is a native of Greenville and has been serving the needs of families in the upstate for over 20 years. You need an agent proficient in navigating the world of multiple offers who will put your needs first and guide you through the process. Let Lana help you achieve your real estate goals. Call her today at 864-608-8313. Again, that's 864-608-8313. And let's get moving. If you're looking for a great atmosphere and good food, you have to check out the Charleston Sports Pub. They're the premier sports bar location in South Carolina with locations in Clemson, Greenville, Goose Creek, James Island, Mount Pleasant, Summerville, and West Ashley. Watch all the games while you have fun playing all their games. Tiger fans, we dine there, legends dine there like Taj Boyd, and so should you. Go eat at the Charleston Sports Pub in Clemson every game day. 359 College Avenue, Clemson. Family owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating and Cooling Services Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer or warm this winter, give Heating and Cooling Services Inc. a call today. Give Mark or Jason Trammell a call at 864-224-7655. Again, 864-224-7655, and they'll take good care of you. Tiger fans, we don't just dress for success, we TS for success. That's Tiger Sports Shop. We shop there so much that they practically begged us to be sponsors for them. Not serious, but we do love shopping at Tiger Sports Shop in one of their two locations, 364 College Avenue and 1102 Tiger Boulevard in Clemson. If you're not in Clemson to check out the experience, stop by online at www.tigersports.com. Again, tigersports.com for all your game day needs. Here we go, getting the show started. 30 seconds. Get in the chat and say hello. The Morgan Thomas Show, getting started. Welcome in, Tiger fans. It's the Morgan Thomas Show. I'm your host and producer, Morgan Thomas. We are live here tonight, another Thursday night, 7 p.m. every single week, unless, of course, we're on vacation, which I was. But I'm not now, so I'm back. Welcome in. Get in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you so much for getting in. Thank you for waiting through the commercials. We really appreciate all of our sponsors who help make this show possible and help us get the equipment that we need and to be able to produce the show for you. So we're so excited to have them sponsor us. As you saw them go, check out their locations and take advantage of their products and services that they have out there. We got a ton of great sponsors, so go check them out. Again, my name is Morgan Thomas. This is the Morgan Thomas Show, 7 p.m. every Thursday night. And alongside me is my co-host, Mr. Houston Burnett. Welcome in, Houston.
Absolutely. I don't think there's going to be much to talk about tonight at all.
Well, we can just go ahead and end it right now. How about that?
I mean, it's just, hey, how you doing? Keep it moving. Let's go on.
Well, I'm glad to have you in this short edition of the Morgan Thomas Show. Again, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, there's one thing that you can do to help the show out, and that is hit the like button. If you don't mind, get in, hit the like button. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what your questions are, because this show is, even though it's named the Morgan Thomas Show, it's not the show all about me. It's not all about Houston either. It's about you and your questions and your concerns and things that you want to talk about. So the best way that you can do that is get in the chat and do so. So get in there. And we want to make this an interactive show, not like your typical, big time productions that you see out there. You watch ESPN, you watch Fox, you watch CBS, ABC, you get to watch them, but you can't really be a part of the show. Well, that's different for this show. You can be a part of the show. So get in the chat tonight. We will read through your questions and comments, and we will address anything that you have, but we'll also go through some of the hot topics. Again, this is the Morgan Thomas Show, and we talk about all things Clemson. We don't just stop at football. We talk about basketball, baseball, softball, anything in between that you want to talk about. So let's get in the chat. Before we do, again, hit the like button wherever you may be, and we're going to throw you up on the screen and give you the shout out. Brady Evans, Darlene Howard, welcome in, gives us a tiger emoji. Welcome in. Tiger Paw Craven, Al Coon gets in. Jordan Bowman, Brent Jones, John Sarian, Ryan Thompson also gets in. Kevron Harris, welcome in. John Chansey, Jeremy Wogglemuth, Kevron Jordan, and a lot more, I'm sure, as you're watching online right now. Again, we're going to go through your questions, comments, and concerns. I think the biggest thing that we want to talk about, let's just get it out the way, the loose partnership. Now, I said this on the Mickey Plyler Show this morning, Houston. The loose partnership sounds kind of like we've heard it before. I mean, in America, most couples go to Las Vegas and they get married. They elope to Las Vegas to get their nuptials. Now, it just so happens that this loose partnership between the Pac-12, supposedly, and the ACC is also going to go to the Las Vegas to play a championship game. That's the proposed idea. So my joke is, this loose partnership is also ending in a championship ring in Las Vegas. What's the coincidence there? I think we should start a t-shirt, Houston. Wanted loose partnership. What do you think?
I had a suggestion for a t-shirt idea, but I can't say it on air. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is going to happen. I think this is a sign of desperation. And look, I think last year, or maybe it was a few months ago when we were saying Clemson needs to rip off the Band-Aid and just go to the SEC. This wasn't really at the forefront of anyone's mind because only Texas and Oklahoma had moved. But once USC and UCLA said, hey, we're out, we're going to the Big Ten, that's when everybody started to ask questions, and it started to become evident that the only move that Clemson needs to make for themselves I mean, forget about the ACC as a whole. The move that benefits Clemson is going to one of those two conferences. I would bet it's the one that's in the Southeast. I feel like that's the one that's more natural. I have my own thoughts about that I don't want to get into it, that I'll get into later. But a loose partnership between the ACC and Pac-12 is not going to work. And if it does, it's not going to be with its power players on both sides of those conferences.
I'm looking at the proposed ACC Pac-12 partnership, specifically talking with ESPN. And here's a quote from the Sports Illustrated article recently. The proposal, still in its infancy, and this is regarding the loose partnership, heavily involves the ESPN-owned ACC network. Under the plan, the ACC network, or a renamed entity combining the two leagues, will have exclusive rights to broadcast Pac-12 games to West Coast households through ESPN cable providers. The agreement is not a merger or consolidation of the leagues, but is instead built around a media rights agreement with the worldwide leader in sports, an effort to clap back at the Pac-12's loss of USC and UCLA to the Big Ten. First question for you, Houston. What is that renamed entity? What would you call it?
Trash. I mean, it's just, I don't see, here's the thing. Even if this gets off the ground, it's going to be without Clemson and then several other ACC brands, whether that's Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, whoever else has thrown their hat in the ring about potentially leaving. It's not going to involve Notre Dame. At first, I'll give you credit, Morgan. I didn't think that Notre Dame would really consider the Big Ten. That doesn't seem like the case. I think the Big Ten and Notre Dame are kind of on the same collision course that Clemson and the SEC have been on. That's going to happen. So you're going to be missing that juice. And I can almost, without a doubt, say that Oregon and or Washington won't be in it with the Pac-12. So it's going to just be a bunch of basketball schools and Washington State and Oregon State playing for a ring in Las Vegas in front of 20,000 people. So you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call that, I don't know, a Tuesday night special.
Oh, ouch. Houston, man, you're really hurtful with this. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Let's look at the Pac-12, okay? The Pac-12 has Washington State, Washington, Oregon State, Oregon, Stanford, California, well, Cal, we'll say, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, and that's it. They used to have UCLA. They used to have USC. Now it's no longer that. I'm looking at this list. Now I'm trying to think positive here. I'm looking at this list. I like Oregon. I mean, they've got a big time partnership with Nike. They've shown that they can have success in football and that they want to add money and give money to the football program. They want to invest. I feel like that teams that want to invest, Utah is also a team that wants to invest, a school that wants to invest in football. I think Colorado, they had history in the 90s. I don't know if they're really looking to invest now, but Arizona State, I think they do want to invest in football. And I think you could really say Washington as well. So to me, there's a few good teams in there that don't deserve to be left out, that do add some value on the same level as a Miami, in my opinion.
Some. I think that
maybe the same level as a Louisville.
I don't know. I mean, Louisville doesn't have the same cachet as Oregon. Like, there's what teams are left. There is a definite, there's a group of teams that you're like, that has some juice to that name still. Like Clemson, they got some juice to the name because of recent success. That's why the SEC and the Big Ten are interested. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. And Oregon is similar to Clemson, that they've had success. They've been consistently in the New Year's Six since, 2009. They played for a couple of national titles, couldn't win the big one, but they got there. So they've got some juice to that name. And then they've got Phil Knight and all his endless amount of wealth tied to that program. I just don't see those three programs settling for this. Not when it's not going to matter what kind of setup this is. The money that's going to be involved isn't going to be remotely on the same level as the Big Ten or the SEC. I mean, you can try, but you're going to get dwarfed extremely fast. I think the best move for those, Oregon and Notre Dame are going to end up in the Big Ten. Clemson's going to end up in the SEC. And then just kind of rounding out numbers, picking up people, teams that have a higher brand name than others. And I have thoughts on what teams go where. But I think there's going to end up being two large power conferences between 20 and 24 teams. And then the Big 12 will end up being the catch-all conference to make sure that everybody's got a league and everybody's playing. And look, I know that there's some teams that are good, not great brands, like Louisville and Utah and NC State, teams that can beat big-time teams. NC State beat Clemson. But at the same time, I think that once this dust settles and you know where everyone's going, and if there is a conference of teams that are good, not great, teams that could make it to the New Year's Six and all that kind of stuff like that, the focus for that league needs to be, let's make this the craziest, funnest brand of football and kind of be an alternative to this, since we don't have the money or the resources that the Big Ten and the SEC have.
Now, I will say that when this first started happening with Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC, if you were a member or a fan of the show, you will remember that I said Clemson needs to get out. Clemson and Florida State need to get out, and they need to go to the SEC. Now, some people said, Morgan, no. It's overreacting. Don't do that. Now, some people said, hey, yeah, I want to go to the SEC. Now, guess what? A lot more people are saying that. Think about this, Houston. Mickey this morning had a great comment. Imagine game day, the bunch of Tennessee fans coming to town to get their tail whooped. Yeah. Imagine Florida fans traveling up to get their tail whooped. Imagine other teams in the SEC getting a chance to come to Death Valley and see where the real one is at. Mm-hmm. I think it would be great. I think it would be great for the school, for the university, but you have some of those old school people out there, Houston, that say, and they actually mentioned this morning, no. There's only you can't have too big a conference. I say, open your eyes. I say there could be a super conference of 60 teams. Now, some people say that's a little too many. Here's my thought. This is inevitable. You better join the conference that gets you the most money now. There is no prize of being a playoff contender making half the amount of money that Vanderbilt makes. There is no prize to winning a championship and teams that don't even make a bowl game getting $50 million more than you. That's not a prize. It's inequality in the money with college football. And if you don't think it hurts, it's hurting. It will hurt. If it's not already, it will hurt. And the teams that are putting the money in, hey, guess where these teams get their money? From donors like you and me. But guess where they also get their money from? The contracts. And the contract right now being half as much money, you got to get out of that any way possible. Now, some people say to me, maybe it's beneficial to just pay the money now, and with the money that you make back from being in the SEC or the Big Ten, you can pay it back later. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a couple of things because there's all this talk of the grant of rights and how it's going to be just so ironclad and impossible to get out of. Here's the thing: the one that's holding the cards in all of this is ESPN. They have the contracts for the SEC. They have the contracts for the ACC. So, what good of is a grant of rights when you would make more money as your own company to move a couple of those brands over to your bigger account? Clemson is a hot brand right now, and I think anybody who doesn't think that those talks aren't happening behind closed doors and haven't been happening, they've been happening for a while, I bet. I mean, they did flirt with the Big 12, and I don't think that was pie in the sky. I just think that was, telling the ACC to get their act together. And now it's you didn't get your act together, and our foot's out the door. So I think ESPN's holding the cards. I don't think anything that happens is going to happen overnight. Granted, I might be wrong, and Clemson could say, "Hey, we're voting for the SEC tonight." I don't know, but but I think patience should be involved when this is announced, because I don't think even if Clemson said, "Hey, we're out," it's going to be more than just a couple of years to work through. There's probably going to be some sort of buyout negotiation down out of the 14-year contract of the grant of rights. They might even say, "Hey, y'all have to stick around to finish out the schedule model we just put out." So that's going to put us, 2027 before they get in. And that's probably where I was thinking. I think the drop dead earliest you'd see Clemson out of the conference is 25. And I still don't think that's going to happen on time. I think it'll be a little later. It's just, I think everybody's impatient right now because they want something to happen and they want to make sure Clemson's off that sinking ship. I just know that if the athletic department main thing is to make sure what is beneficial for the school. And right now it's looking like it's more beneficial to bolt for another conference. I think that's going to happen. You just got to be patient. It could be tonight, could be next week, could be next month, could be next summer. I mean, everybody thought there was going to be mass hysteria and realignment last summer. And, Texas and Oklahoma was the big dog that happened. And then some others that went to the Big 12. This year it's the Pac-10 or the Pac-12. Next year, it could be a lot more. I don't know. We just got to wait and see. But I know that there's going to be a move imminent, I feel like.
I want to bring up this screen share because it's one of my favorite Twitter handles out there. I'll see if I can bring it up real quick.
No, it took me off the stream.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
I want to bring this up because this is from Austin Pendergeist, Clemson grad. I don't think he actually works for Clemson right now, but he is a master Photoshop guy when it comes to athletic Photoshop, sport Photoshop, but also Clemson Photoshop. I love everything he does. He recently showed images of what the Clemson uniform would look like with SEC, Big Ten, and other badges, seals, brands, logos on the jersey. Here's the SEC one. I believe this is Andrew Makuba. But here's the SEC badge. What do you think about that, Houston? How do you like that?
I mean,
what do you think about that, chat? Does that rub off good for you?
That's kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie. Seeing the SEC logo, look. You can hate this all you want. I've kind of come full circle on everything. When all this was happening back in 2012 with the Big 12 and the SEC, I was one of the first people that got on social media and just yelled at the top of my lungs that Clemson and Florida State got just absolutely pushed out for Missouri and Texas A&M. And so being able to see this is tight. I'm not gonna lie. I like this a lot. I know someone in the comments says they gain nothing. Hey, tell the athletic director that that $100 million that they're going to be getting extra a year ain't worth nothing. All right,
Mick. Now I think Big Mick is a Georgia fan.
Oh yeah,
Clemson gains nothing.
Yeah, no, I would be.
You know what Mickey would say? I picked on him this morning about it. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, They
What
gain
are you
a
talking
lot
about?
more.
Clemson gains nothing? Are you serious?
I would be you're gonna get better facilities out of this, because I mean this money's gonna go right back into the program. You're gonna be able to assist your coaches, you're gonna be able to retain top talent, you're gonna be able to retain top coaches, you're gonna have new facilities for baseball, basketball, volleyball, whatever else you want to add. And Clemson's gonna really
What could
invest in
you
it.
do with double the revenue?
Exactly. And that's why I think that this is
I
great.
don't know, but I want to know.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Like I'm geeked, man. Like
What do we mean?
yeah.
All right. SEC badge. Let's look at the other one. Big Ten logo. Are you feeling it? I feel like you're getting a little bit of a groan here.
I mean, look, if you keep the South Carolina rivalry and you're able to keep a few rivalries going to the Big Ten, you might be able to sell it. It just, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want Clemson to be like the West Virginia of the Big Ten, where they're going to have to travel 90 million miles to go play in front of 10,000 fans at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. And all of those 10,000 would be Clemson fans, right? It feels like the natural fit is the SEC. There are places that I want to visit in the SEC, and this would give me a reason to go, whether it's Knoxville, Gainesville, Auburn again, Ole Miss, LSU, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma. All these places are awesome. And they're also going to add more in there, whether it's Virginia Tech or Miami or Florida State or North Carolina or whatever. It's just going to be more of a natural fit to be in the SEC than having to be like, oh, great, we get to go to East Lansing in November. That's awesome, guys. Let's get ready for it.
Let's look at the map real quick. Let me blow it up for you, old guys out there. Clemson Rutgers? You looking forward to Clemson Rutgers?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know our boy.
You gonna travel up to New Jersey for that?
Your boy Casey the Beef Cregan will. He'll be there with Bellzone. That's his dream matchup. Clemson on a Thursday night in the middle of a half-empty Rutgers Stadium, honoring Greg Schiano on a Thursday. That doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to play Maryland anymore. I think we had our fill seeing them for all those years. I like the fact that we got to go up there as a Clemson team and fans and witness them beating them one last time in College Park before they got sent to the abyss of the Big Ten. And there's not many names on here that I'm like, I mean, I look at Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and Nebraska, and I'm like, all right, those would be cool. Those would be neat. The rest of them, not really. Everybody in the SEC interests me. This, not so much.
Hit Wonder 101. The ACC should make power move and add Ohio State, Penn, Notre Dame, Purdue, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, Michigan State, and Wisconsin. I think you're out of touch on this one.
Yeah,
I don't think that's any way this is going to go. That is a dream. That's going to happen. You know how that's going to happen, Houston?
Playing on a PS2, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, we respect your thoughts. I just think that one is a little bit way out there. A little bit way out there. Bill gets in, says he was late. He was at a soiree. That's a little inside joke, but I get you. I'm with you. More people saying they agree with Big Mick.
That we gain nothing.
He says, I'm 100% Clemson and ACC. Why does the ACC need to dissolve for the SEC, Big Ten, or Pac-12?
I mean, there's several reasons. And the main thing is Clemson is going to get dwarfed with the amount of money that these two conferences are bringing in. It's
money. You cannot stay in a conference making half as much money.
Yeah, you can't. That's the entire reason. That is the entire reason USC is going to the Big Ten. That's the entire reason. So if Clemson can make sense out of this to go to the SEC, And to me, Clemson gains everything out of this. Like, they're a leg up. Now they're unique as far as part of being out of the SEC, but they can go into the SEC and say, hey, we're an alternative to, kind of the big box SEC schools. Look at us, look at this different brand, bring something new to the table. And that's not just in football, that's other sports as well. That will get poured into with the $50 to $75 million more that Clemson will be getting by going to another conference. I would gladly dissolve the ACC if it meant that Clemson would be more competitive and have more of opportunities to compete with championships and not get left in the dust by going to play the Pac-12 champion or Pac-12 whatever in a bowl game in Las Vegas.
In Vegas.
Yeah.
That's where you decided you wanted to play? Vegas? In Vegas. On the West Coast. Takes 5 hours to get there from here by plane. Forget that. It's a terrible, it's a great city to have a game in, but it's not good for any of the teams, the majority of the teams on this side of the country. When I look at this map, I see a lot of great teams that would be great in the other conference opposite of Clemson. I do not see any reason why Clemson should be in a conference with these teams. This would be a great interleague play scenario, but it would not be a great every single year in conference or in division or in league scenario to me. I just don't see it. To me, you've already got years of historic rivalries. Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama now, Auburn, Tennessee. Those are the teams I want to see Clemson play, and throw in Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Even Texas A&M has a military rivalry, has a little bit of a history going back to, I believe, early 2000s. I went to the one game where they lost, and then I didn't go to the game where they won. But either way, there's some history there of already being played that I like better than the teams on the screen right now. Now, John says, once a single team stands up to the ACC and says, see you in court, the dominoes begin to fall. ESPN can step in, renegotiate a new contract, and for ACC to let teams go for a good new contract. Now, here's my thing. If you're the ACC commissioner, are you really wanting to renegotiate to lose your conference?
There's no, they're painting in the corner. If you go, someone had I want to say 2 comments up. I believe Jeff Browder brought up a great point. The ACC is reactionary, right? They could have, much like the NCAA, they could have staved off a lot of this years ago, even in the 90s. When they got Florida State, you know who else the ACC had a chance to get? Penn State. And I don't know the full story of that. That was a little before my time. But there were talks of getting Penn State and Florida State into the ACC. If you'd have gotten that, and then instead of getting Boston College, you'd figured out a way to maybe get Pitt, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Miami, that has a little bit more juice in the conference, right? You have a good Penn State team. You control the Northeast when it comes to recruiting. You have 3 very large, 4 very large, even 5 very large brands as far as what's in the conference, but they've just sat by, let basketball dominate. The conference itself hasn't taken advantage of Clemson and Florida State's success and in football, and now they're reaping the benefits of that they sowed. Clemson and Florida State are up for quote unquote promotion out of this, and they've painted themselves in the corner because Clemson and Florida State and Miami and Virginia Tech and whoever else aren't going to sit by and let this happen. And even with the basketball schools, North Carolina's name has been getting thrown around there. They're not going to want to get dwarfed as far as basketball goes. I mean, think about how many Big Ten – it used to be that the ACC dominated the ACC Big Ten Challenge. I would want to see what that record is since about 2009, 2010. It feels a lot more even. It feels like the Big Ten has won more. So do you think North Carolina and Duke are going to sit there and watch those schools in the Big Ten dwarf them in basketball and the sports they control?
A lot of comments, man. A lot of comments. Great discussion, though. We only try to do an hour show, so I want to kind of pump the brakes on that and maybe get some more discussion in on some other things, if you don't mind. Let's get into the chat real quick and make sure that I remind you of our Twitter handles. So I'm going to put them in the chat real quick at the Morgan T Show. I'll throw that in there for you. And then at Radio Guy Houston is Houston's as well. If you don't mind, go in there and give us a follow. If you're coming here from Twitter, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button or follow us over on Facebook, where you can contact us and talk to us on the regular, whether it's a direct message or on the thread. Twitter is the place to be. If you want to be a part of the show, YouTube, Facebook, the place to be as well. So thank you so much. If you want to help out the show, the best thing you can do is just simply hit the like button. If you want to watch the content that we put out, all you can do is hit the subscribe button. So thank you so much for doing that. Another big thing that happened this week that's going to happen tomorrow is more recruiting stuff. As we know, this is Peter Woods Eve, Houston. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock will be the festivities, and then 7:45 will be the announcement. So if you're looking for the actual announcement, do not tune in at 7. Wait and take your time. Peter Woods. We've got a lot of people talking about Peter Woods. Hey, what do you guys think about Peter Woods? What do you think about how he what he's going to predict, what he's going to select going in to tomorrow night? Well, let's give you a little bit of preview because I don't think we did a Peter Woods video. Maybe we did. Let's do it again. Houston, we'll start with Peter Woods. Let's do a video. Let's watch some of his highlights together, and let's talk about how we think he could fit in the Clemson roster. Big time, 5-star guy. So let me put up a little text here. Peter Woods highlights review. All right. Throw that up there. All right, Houston. Peter Woods, defensive lineman, according to 24/7 Sports, 6'4", 270 pounds, from Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama, class of 2023. It'll be a freshman next year. Now, Alabaster, if you're not familiar, Houston, or if you're watching the show, Alabaster is actually the city right below Pelham, Alabama, which you should know Pelham, Alabama, because that's where Dabo Swinney is from. So very close, right outside of the southern part of Birmingham. I wouldn't necessarily call it Birmingham, but Pelham is between Birmingham and Alabaster. Now, the thing about Alabaster is Clemson's gone there before. It is a little bit difficult to get a Clemson commit from Thompson High School, Alabaster, because it's kind of like the way Lakeland is for Florida. It's kind of like the way Phoenix City was before Clemson got in there to Auburn. You know, it's kind of like those schools that are just, that's where you're going to go, and you're probably going to go to, you know, that college. Just like, but Clemson is not they have been familiar with getting players from cities that are really close to those schools that they're going after. Clemson's pulled players from Lakeland. Clemson's pulled players from Tallahassee. They've pulled players from Miami. They have been able to do that. They've pulled Deshaun Watson from Gainesville. They've pulled players from Phoenix City, right?
Yeah.
But last year, they didn't get, you know, Jeremiah Alexander from Alabaster.
Yeah.
So there's some doubt out there that Clemson can do it. My first question to you, Houston, is can they do it?
Yeah, well, so first off, preface what I was going to say. I thought you were about to say, well, Clemson's got some familiarity with Daniel and Dorman High School, and I was going to just wait for the collective eye rolls of every message board poster that's
Oh,
like,
man.
monster management. That's
Hey, that is our Pipeline High School. How dare you talk bad about the Lions, man?
we've got plenty of guys out of Daniel and Dorman. Both of those are good high school. You're never going to hear complaints out of me as far as that goes. I trust the staff's evaluations. I with Peter Woods, there's a lot of momentum. I will admit that there is a lot of momentum. I am not going to sit here and say Clemson's got him, he's a Tiger, all that kind of stuff until it happens, because it is Alabaster, Alabama, and this happened once already, and he might commit to Alabama tomorrow, and I'm not gonna have my hopes up. If he goes to Alabama, we kind of had an idea. If he commits to Clemson, that's an amazing win for Clemson. But like I said, I'm not going to celebrate this. I'm not going to say this definitively until it happens.
6'4", 270, 5-star, 24/7 Sports Composite, 98.75. The fourth best player out of Alabama, third best defensive lineman, 23rd best player in the nation, has 35 total offers, currently looking at 3: Clemson University, Alabama, and Florida. Now, according to Cooper Pategna of National Recruiting Analyst from 24/7 Sports, possesses adequate size at 6'3", 259, tweener frame, position projection will be dictated by growth potential, displays good athletic ability across multiple positions on the defensive line, shows the ability to play in a two-point stance, in an edge role, and with his hand on the ground in multiple defensive fronts. All right, let's take a look at some of the film that they have on him. This is from huddle.com. Let me throw it up on the screen here for us to review. Again, Peter Woods making his decision known. Get in the comments what you think. Where will he go? Clemson, Florida, Alabama, from Alabaster, Alabama. Let's take a look. Here he is lining up, defensive tackle, nose position, blasts off the ball, goes right at him. Forces a fumble there at the end, Houston.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put an exact comp on him because he's got a lot of similarities to a lot of current and former Clemson guys. You can look at him and see his game is similar to, the versatility of Christian Wilkins. You can see that he's got a nasty streak, kind of like Brzee. His size probably is more like Tyler Davis. He's a little bit smaller. He's not a small guy. Like I want to say that he's not a small guy, and he definitely projects to be more of a defensive tackle. I like what I see, and I mean, it might be one of those things that you give him some limited reps in his first year just to get some weight on him, get that college experience first. But it ain't going to take long before he's playing consistently. And when you've got the fundamentals and the burst that he's got a lot of good stuff here. And the intangibles that you need to play defensive tackle in this defense is right there.
Typical Power 5 defensive line measurables, 6'4", 260. Not really that off. Stats, what you're looking for, according to a scout that I talked to recently, a source, if you will. 40-yard dash looking at around 4.8, benching around 315, and squatting around 450. Key things that you're looking for in Peter Woods: can he overpower offensive linemen at the high school level? I think that's a yes. You see him hop off the line, pop into the offensive lineman, shed him, or put him to the ground and get on to the next level. Can he get out of blocks quickly anytime that he wants? I say that's a yes too. Those are two key factors for him being a 5-star guy. Again, as you mentioned, Houston, he's versatile. He's kind of like a Christian Wilkins, kind of fast like a DJ Reader, kind of elusive and can wiggle his way out of things and get himself involved even when it looks like he's blocked, like a Tyler Davis. He has a combination of a lot of different guys that you already have seen on the Clemson defensive line. Definitely has quick twitch skills and get off the line, get off the block. He jumps off the screen when you watch what he does. It's not just one type of move. It's not just one position on the field. A lot to love about what Peter Woods can do. A lot of great pass rush moves, a lot of great run stopping moves. I really like what I see. And also high level performer too, as far as the team is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Team get very far in the playoffs at his level in Alabama. That's another thing. You just got to look at the whole package about how he's helped his team, what he does as an individual, and what you see on the screen. And to be honest with you, Houston, there's a lot to like from Peter Woods. Now, where will he go? Everybody asks us, where will he go? Where he go? Well, you know where we want him to go. This is a Clemson focused YouTube channel. You know where we want him to go. So don't ask us where will he go. We're just going to tell you what we like about him and how he can fit into the system. Obviously, anybody that's on the defensive line has got to be feeling good about what they're seeing with the staff at Clemson University. Coach Ski Hall, been a great coach, defensive ends. Now you've got Nick Eason, who is already showing how great he is on the recruiting front. And you know he's a proven coach and proven past player. So if you're looking at the staff, I think those check the boxes. You agree?
Oh, yeah. No, looking at the staff, I think Clemson's put itself in about as good a position that it can for Peter Woods right now. They checked all the boxes. You read the tea leaves as far as certain sites that are like, family really does like Clemson. They enjoyed a lot. He really vibes with Clemson. So they've put themselves in a great position. But I'm not going to clamor that it's going to happen until it happens. That's all I got to say.
Me personally, feeling wise, I feel good. But, you know, again, a lot of people watch this show live, and the live viewers are a large majority Clemson fans. But if you guys realize later on, it's non-Clemson fans that watch these videos, and they just go, oh, well, you guys are a bunch of homers. Of course you would pick your own school. And so, again, I don't even want to go down that route. You know that we would love for him to become a Tiger. It's his decision. We'll leave it up to him. But the measurables looks great. The versatility we love about him, and just his quick twitch and power is also great. So obviously a deserving 5-star guy, a deserving top national guy, and we look forward to seeing more of him. Again, if you're in the chat, make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. That really does help. Like literally, not only people watching and watching consistently, which I see you're doing, so thank you so much, but also getting in and hitting the like button, because that shows that you're here. You're not just a bot that Joe Biden paid for on Twitter. So we want you to get in here and say you're a real person and hit the like button. All right.
Whoa.
All right. So Christopher Johnson is a new offer. And I would say that about anybody, Houston. I think Twitter has a bunch of bots out there. I just said the president because he's an easy target. But Christopher Johnson, 2023 Florida running back, recently announces his offer. Now, that immediately, I posted that, and that immediately caused negative reaction from Clemson fans. I did not understand why Clemson fans would go out there and say, oh, we're not going to get him. Oh, Miami's already got him. Oh, CJ Spiller's asleep at the wheel. Oh, Clemson's losing track. Clemson's out of touch. Clemson's waiting too long. I want to pump the brakes on all of that. My first thing is this. You already know, if you're a Clemson fan, you already know their philosophy and how they limit the offers that are out there. Now, I know that it drives us nuts. It drives me nuts at times. It drives Houston nuts at times. It drives Allen nuts at times. But the fact of the matter is, that's their philosophy. By the way, has the philosophy not worked? Yes, it has worked. Have they had top 10 recruiting classes consistently? Yes. Have they won national championships? Yes. Are they currently in a top 10 recruiting class? Yes. So their philosophy works. Now, does it rub everybody the right way or wrong way? Now, some people it does rub people the wrong way. Some younger men in the country that maybe are highly regarded recruits, or maybe they're just middle of the road recruits. Sometimes they have come out and said, well, I don't like how Clemson waited on the offer. I don't like how they didn't offer me early. My throwback to you is, if that matters to you, it never really mattered to you. I posted this on Twitter. If you have a dream job out there, if you have a place where you really want to go, you're going to find a way to go. You're going to save your money and you're going to buy that ticket when you get the opportunity. If somebody pays for your ticket to go to that location, you're going to go there. If you don't really want to go there, you're not going to accept the ticket. You're not going to save your money and buy the ticket. If you really want that job, no matter what job you currently have, if Clemson recruiting office called me today and said, hey, we're going to give you similar pay scout salary to come over here, I'm out of here. If they told me a little bit of pay cut, I'm out of here. I'm going to do it because I think that would be a job I'd love. Now, I don't know if I'd love it or not, but the idea is this. If you really want to be somewhere, you'll find a way to be somewhere. It doesn't matter if you're offered in January or July. Now, some players out there will say, oh, well, I feel like they neglected me. I feel like that, they didn't offer me, so they really weren't interested. I don't like how they did that. I think that's a general misunderstanding of how the process works. Here's the thing. Yeah, you get offered by other schools. Let me ask you something. If you're a wide receiver out there, for example, you're a wide receiver out there and somebody offers you and you're one of 30 players at that same position they offered, is that really any more meaningful? Really? What if you get the offer and you're one of 30 and you walk up to them and you say, Coach, I want to commit to your school. And what are they going to say to you? Well, you know what, Houston, we've been thinking and we've been looking at the roster and we're just not ready for you to commit. You have an offer from us, and that's a prestigious thing, but we just can't allow you to commit yet. Schools do that, by the way. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, there was another thing that's out there. It's called the transfer portal and decommitting. People decommit. When they get to a place where they really want to go to, they find a way to go there. Mm-hmm. People walk on to universities that they really want to be at. Do you really want a player who doesn't really want to be there? Some people say, hey, well, if they would have offered earlier, maybe they would have been more interested. If that's what really mattered, if that was the catalyst, the decision factor, that's pretty shallow to me. So the first thing is, don't get hung up on late offers. First of all, it's Clemson's philosophy. Second of all, if you really want to come to Clemson, it doesn't matter when you get the offer. You're going to take it if you really want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Dabo's harped on this several times, is he wants players that want to be there. And so if you're going to be miffed about not getting an offer on your timeline, then maybe you're not really that interested in going in the first place to Clemson. I think people tend to overreact when I say we as in Clemson fans, and we don't see the team and the staff offer the amount that they want to see, that the fans want to see. They want to see a ton of offers, 4 and 5 stars, because they're used to seeing this. But you also got to realize, just because you don't see a ton of offers and just because you don't see a ton of commitments at the position year after year, it doesn't mean that they're not successful in recruiting. I keep seeing that, well, they're just not having success recruiting right now at wide receiver. And that's garbage. That's a terrible take. Think about when Tyler Grisham took over, right? He took over at the end of the 2019 season. So the class was already kind of done for 2020. But in 2021, he went out and got Troy Stellato. He went and got Dakari Collins and Bo Collins. He pulled those in. Now, some of those guys are still working through, like Troy Stellato. We still have yet to see, but Bo Collins and Dakari Collins really showed out and really had to be pushed into roles that nobody really expected them to do this year, and they did pretty well. You look at this past class in 2022, you look at Adam Randall, who he could come back early and could be a freak. He looks like DK Metcalf in his photos. Antonio Williams. Even Cole Turner's got decent film for what they picked up for someone, if you want to put him in as a slot guy. And then you look at this class, I like Noble Johnson's film a lot. So you have to judge success of, the development of players. Just because they're not offering a lot of players doesn't mean they don't have a plan. And the same with running backs. They missed on Andrew Paul last year. People were just pulling their shirts off and weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth that they could not get a running back outside of Keith Adams Jr. last year. Understandable frustration. Maybe the strategy didn't work last year, but that doesn't mean that they don't have an idea going forward. You have 3 running backs that are all very good right now, right? Getting a 4th is kind of tough. Recruiting's hard as far as that goes. That's not to say that they don't have a plan this year going forward to get somebody. If you look, they're talking to other people outside of Christopher Johnson. They just are. They do. They're not morons. And I think because you don't see on 247 or Rivals or On3 or whatever site that you go to, that there's more than enough offers out there, it doesn't mean that they're not talking to people. They're in constant communication with several people at those positions that they're still interested in. If they fill those positions, they'll tell them, hey, we don't have any more spots. That's what happened with one of the other positions on defense. What happened there? But as far as
another position on defense, we won't name.
We won't name. Okay. So that's going to happen too. But they're more transparent about it. Doesn't mean they're not talking to people. Doesn't mean they're engaging. They're probably one of the more transparent recruiting groups out there. It's just they do it their own way. And once again, I'll also point this out. Fall is when Clemson does a lot of work on the outside positions of the line. Like offensive line, defensive line, they try to take care of first of order. Think about how many successful players have come through as far as Travis Etienne, late pickup. Nobody knew about this guy who's a 3-4 star guy that Clemson took on a flyer and got. Same with Isaiah Simmons. Same with Antonio Williams. We didn't offer Antonio Williams until the end of the year, and he immediately committed. So just be patient. Recruiting is a marathon, not a sprint, even though it seems like it's a sprint to gobble up as much talent. There's still work to be done, and there's still a lot of time to do it.
We forget the fact that there's a differentiator in doing what Clemson does versus everybody else. Because to be honest with you, the other solution is to offer more players, and then you're up there in the 100, 150. Where does it stop with offering players? You've got teams out there right now over 250 offers. We all know good and well that a team cannot take 250 offers in one season, in one class. We know that. We know that they can take 25, really not any more than that, maybe a little bit more because of the, COVID rules and the transfer portal rules and things like that. But you're talking about not even being at 10% of the players that you've offered because you've offered so many. There are schools out there, championship level schools. Does it really make that big a difference? And I keep going back to, if it did, the recruiting would suffer. The player, you've literally got players that have said, well, I didn't pick Clemson. I didn't like that they didn't offer me early. To be honest with you, my true opinion on that is that's a cop-out. You knew where you were going. You had a favorite, and you were going there. You did not get offered by Clemson. You did not get talked to by Clemson right when you got offered. As Houston mentioned, you were getting talked to by Clemson regularly. They were pursuing you. You were on their radar. They were talking to you about the opportunities. Some of these guys, a lot of these guys, most of the guys that they offer have been at camps, have been at unofficials, have been at officials. It's not like they're completely clueless. There are plenty of guys right now that are 2024 guys that have not been offered, but have already been to camp.
Mm-hmm.
They could be offered in the future, but they haven't yet. There are plenty of those guys out there. Does that mean that they're not talking to him at all? No, that would be dumb. If you don't talk to somebody until you offer them, especially with Clemson's philosophy. Now we got, John says, and I know not everybody agrees with us on this. John says, you've oversimplified. Some kids who criticize Clemson for being late are making the point that they got far with another great, quote, school or team, found a mate just as rich and pretty. My thing is it's not just as rich and pretty. There was something, a differentiator. There was something different between those two teams, in my opinion. You could say that if you say it was just because of the offer and one came in earlier than the other, that's a pretty shallow reason for picking a school over another school. And I don't think it's the real reason. I think there are other reasons, like the fit with the coaching staff, your enjoyment of your visit, your family's enjoyment, your mom's enjoyment, your mom's familiarity and comfort with the staff, your dad's comfort with the staff, with the program, with the academics, so many other factors that actually matter in recruiting. And we're over here like talking about, when they offered mattered. Again, it all goes back to, if you really wanted to go to Clemson, you would wait, i.e. Trenton Simpson,
Antonio Williams.
These are guys that are high-level guys that could have went ahead and committed to other places that did went ahead and commit. And keep in mind, who's to say you can't decommit? People decommit from Clemson all the time. Guess what? People decommit from other places and come to Clemson too. It happens. It happens. If the place you really want to go to offers you, you'll find a way. You'll find a way. All right. So I'm getting off my soapbox here. I know not everybody agrees with us, but I think that's just our opinion on it. Again, I think it's one of the small, minute things that definitely plays a factor in some players. It definitely does. But it should not, if it's your main factor of choosing one, rich and pretty over another rich and pretty, to me, that's a very shallow reason to choose one over the other. And I don't believe it. I think there is a better reason out there. You just probably don't want to say it. You'd rather say, well, Clemson didn't offer me early, or you'd rather do out something ridiculous like that guy from Auburn that said, I chose Auburn because Clemson didn't have a Chick-fil-A. I mean, that's on the level of ridiculousness because, by the way, Clemson did have a Chick-fil-A. He just didn't know that. I can tell you his name. I don't want to call him out. All right. So let's talk about Christopher Johnson because I know people got in the chat and wanted to talk about him. Hey, before we get into the chat, make sure you hit the like button on the video and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because that'll help us and you can be a part of the show, every single week. We do this every Thursday night, 7 p.m., unless one of us is on vacation or all of us or Alan is sick. All right. So Christopher Johnson, running back, recently offered by Clemson, 5'11", 178 from Dillard High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Class of 2023, 3-star overall, 30th best running back in the nation right now. Has about 33 total offers, and that's what kind of got the offer thought or the offer debate on Twitter rolling was Clemson offers now after he has 33. Now, yes, there are many offers for him. You've got Alabama, Florida State, Miami, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and they're all showing warm for him. And I'll tell you this, when it comes to his athletic background, this guy is blazing fast, a top sprinter at the high school level. As a junior, won Florida's 3A state title in the 100-meter dash, registering a 10.45, and also won the title at a 200-meter dash at 20.78, okay? Took first in the 100-meter dash at the Elite 16, 10th grade year, anchored the 4x100 team that captured gold. All right, so this guy is blazing fast. Not up there with Jeffrey Demp's fast. That would be like historically fast, right at the 10-second mark. But 10 and a half, not bad. Not bad. All right. So Christopher Johnson, again, just recently offered by Clemson. Let's take a look at some of his video as we go through it and let us know in the comments what you think about him. All right, here he is taking a handoff. You can see immediately he takes to the house. He runs upright. He runs very fast, showing that track speed, showing that sprinter speed. Very quick and elusive. You're really not going to catch him if he has a straight line to the end zone.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think he's got a unique cut right here, that double step. It's not necessarily like a CJ Spiller or Reggie Bush, but it's unique. It gets the defender off balance. He doesn't always have to go to the outside. He's got a great cut, and he's fast as all get out. And then this is the one thing that sets him apart. Right here, he catches the ball and he leaves him. He's a great receiving running back, and I think somebody like him is what future offenses in college football and football as a whole will look for, is fast, great hands out of the backfield. This guy's got a great jump cut. I love what I'm seeing. Don't really have a player or I haven't got one in mind just yet. I just like what I see. It's not always going to the outside. He's physical. He can go. I like the intangibles that he brings.
I mean, again, he's super fast. Chat gets in there and says, they're kind of worried about the fact that he's in South Florida, close to Miami, with Miami's appeal right now. I think that's real. I think that's okay to say. I mean, Miami does have a huge NIL booster, and they've got a head coach now that's a former player, that former national champion that people love, an All-American guy, and he had great success at Oregon, and now he's in Miami at his home, quote unquote. This guy is a speedster. I don't know his actual measurables now. I mean, he definitely right now looks like a sprinter in football pads. I would say like a basketball player, but I wouldn't say so much a basketball player. He definitely looks like a track guy in football pads. If I were him, he's going to be ruthless and lethal in the passing game, in the option game, in the outside run game, in the straight sprint game. I mean, he can definitely spread the field out for you and be a guy you have to account for his speed. And you might not even be able to account for his speed, to be honest with you. He may be just one of those guys that's just really fast, like a Jeffrey Demps, like Florida had, who's just really super fast. There's nothing you can really do about it. I think Clemson would be great. It would be great pickup for Clemson, because you look in the national championship game, if the speedy guy like Jameson Williams would have stayed in that game, I think Alabama would be a champion and Georgia would be sitting on the sidelines again for another year. Speed guys matter. Guys that can take the top off. Guys that you really cannot scheme for because they're so fast. They're going to blow by everybody.
Yeah. I mean, and the Miami piece of this is real. I also know there's another name that's out there that hasn't been made, I guess, quote unquote, public. But that Clemson's talking to, that I feel like
wait, Houston. They talk to guys before an offer?
I know it's an insane theory that they're having communications without offering. But there's another one that has similar film to Chris Johnson. I like both of the guys that they're talking to right now. I feel confident that one of these two guys could potentially commit. They might take two. I feel like they're going to try to nail one of these first two guys before pursuing the in-state option of the kid out of Dutch Fork. I think he might be one of those, late. We got an extra spot, come on, kind of offers. But I feel like they're going to be in good shape in the end.
Yeah, I like Christopher Johnson. We'll see what Clemson can do with him. I don't know of a current commitment date for him, but we'll see what Clemson can do. Again, if you're on the train of they need to offer more, it's not going to happen. They've offered Christopher Johnson. They're going to allow him to make his decision, and then they might likely move on if they have to. But that's just the way the philosophy is. Do I necessarily 100% agree with it? Sometimes, maybe not. Sometimes, especially last year, as we saw, I kind of wish they would have moved on from Travis Etienne.
Trevor.
But then again, I also understand why they really liked him and they wanted him to come to Clemson and they thought it would be a good fit. And so they stuck by him and told the guy that's next in line to wait. That guy ended up being Keith Adams Jr., had to wait. I mean, it is what it is with their philosophy. Again, I don't always 100% agree with it, but that's how they do it. And really, Clemson's running back room right now, if you look at it, a lot of people panic about the running back room. You have Kobe Pace, who can go super senior, like Super Saiyan. I mean, he can go super senior. You've got Mafa Shipley, all also played through COVID, so they can go super senior. You've got Keith Adams. You did miss last year. We know that they missed on Andrew Paul, right? But they just picked up a guy that is from, I believe, like community college, junior college level, Dominique Thomas. And by the way, with a last name like Thomas, do I have to say more? Do I have to say more? But Dominique Thomas, Quadzilla, as CJ Spiller calls him, is a beast, and he is putting in the work. If you haven't seen what work he's been putting in, go check out the Twitter page. Go check out my Twitter page and see what you think. But I think that they're going to give Dominique Thomas a chance to prove himself, and he could potentially be he's a walk-on that has an opportunity. That's all you really can provide for a walk-on. His mom and his grandparents died in a tornado in 2021, and his lifelong dream was to play at Clemson. So he's walking on at Clemson. Again, if you really want to play and suit up in the uniform that happens to be playing in Death Valley, Clemson Memorial Stadium, Clemson, you will find a way. You will not care if the offer was January 1st, January 30th, or July. Again, especially if you haven't committed anywhere. And even if you have, what's a decommit? What's a decommit? You can still go on an official visit if you have one out there. If you really want to be a Clemson Tiger, you'll find a way. Now, guys come out and say, oh, well, they went to Miami. It's because they didn't offer early enough. No, he really just wanted to go to Miami. That's my opinion. You can't convince me otherwise. They really just wanted to go to Miami anyways. Now, should they have offered to somebody who maybe that was a miss? Maybe they should have known, hey, he really wanted to go to Miami. Hey, he really was going to go to Florida. I kind of look back at Travis Etienne and say, or Trevor Etienne, excuse me. I look back at Trevor Etienne and I say, maybe the writing was on the wall. Honestly, if I was the family, I would have said, hey, you know what? He definitely is going to go to Florida. Clemson guys, Dabo, you guys should move on. We respect you. We love you. We're family. Travis had a great, college career, but he's going to Florida. Honestly, I think that should have happened. I don't know why that didn't happen, but it seemed like Clemson waited and they held their commitment. They held their end of the bargain and they had to move on. It's going to happen again with running back. They're not going to mass offer running backs. It's just not going to happen. Houston, to your point, they're not going to mass offer wide receivers either, as it seems. They're going to offer the guys that they feel like. Did you know when I'm doing the 2024 recruiting board right now? Do you know everybody that's been offered right now are guys that have already showed they've been interested. They're guys that already come on unofficials. They're guys that have already come to camp. It's not a coincidence. It's not like they're just blanket throwing these offers out there.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. And I mean, that's only going to grow. And I mean, everybody seems to have the answers in the moment, but there's a lot left on the recruiting calendar. There's a lot left with 2024. So let's just relax. That's the main thing.
I hate when you say relax.
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling the fans.
Such a nervous, and it's so funny that I'm talking to the choir here because I'm the nervous fan.
Yeah. No, you're finally coming around, and that's a good thing. People want more, and they don't know how to stay patient. We need to have 5 stars consistently. I saw the broad appeal comment. I had to roll my eyes at that. their way, they can get guys. Look, if Clemson didn't have broad appeal, they wouldn't have gotten guys in California or Texas.
I mean, Clemson is by far. Go pick up a magazine. Go pick up any magazine and look at the recruiting class compared to anybody in the ACC and a lot of the teams in the SEC. Clemson is not top 10 by mistake. They're still landing these guys, so the philosophy can't be broken.
But they don't have broad appeal though, Morgan. They don't have that broad appeal though, even though they're fifth. They don't have broad appeal.
And that was another thing. I see a post. I post something about an offensive lineman, and one of the comments is, "Why aren't we getting offensive linemen that are from the state of South Carolina?"
Well, it's their loss.
I mean, first of all, Monroe Freeling is not really from South Carolina, and Marquis Anderson apparently has always been a South Carolina lean. So what do you do? The people, the offensive lineman after him, Clemson said, you know what? We can land equal to or better players from other states. And guess what they did? They landed equal to or better players from other states. Houston, I know we're over time, but I know you like to keep talking. A lot of people in this chat said they want to see what we have to say about Flapjack Zachariah Owens. You have time for Flapjack?
We can do one more film with Zachariah Owens. Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna do some Flapjack here. Now that's his name that he puts up on Twitter. So no disrespect there. Big guy, definitely a big guy, but I love it. Again, no disrespect to anybody who has a different opinion from me. I just think I'm right and you're wrong. All right. And that's completely in jest too, by the way.
Is it?
I mean, I do have a show with my name, so I kind of do feel like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. So one of the newest commits for Clemson committed on July 4th, Zachariah Owens, Flapjack, his nickname, offensive tackle, 6'5", 6'6", 365 pounds, 4-star, 16th best offensive tackle in the nation from Eagles Landing Christian High School, McDonough, Georgia, in the class of 2023, had 24 total offers and recently visited Clemson in June and then decided he was going to be a Tiger. When you look at Gabe Brooks from 24/7 Sports, the Midlands region recruiting analyst, he says, size unverified, but is legitimately massive with college-ready height and mass. Big frame fosters large reach, packs a powerful punch with overwhelming strength versus high school competition, simply swallows up many opponents and flashes knockdown power at the point of attack and on the move, whether as a puller or combining to the second level. So let's take a look and see. By the way, BTW. Clemson offered March 6th for Zachariah Owens. South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi State, Southern California, Ole Miss, Florida, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Arkansas. Interesting how Tennessee, Central Florida, Liberty, Michigan State, they all offered before him. I want to talk to Zachariah Owens and say, why did you pick Clemson if they didn't offer you early enough? That's what I want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask him that. Why did you pick Clemson? All right, let's look at the film. I'm going to go back because I missed it. All right, here we go. Zachariah Owens, starting out right tackle. Look at him pull. Look at the big man. Wow.
He's a big boy. He's a
all right. Oh man, just like broke that guy's. Oh, I'm just going to feel just terrible for all the defense here. Again, he's a big dude, but they do pull him a lot.
Yeah, the thing that I see here is he's going to need to come in and probably lose some weight because, I mean, he's head and shoulders above everybody on the field. That's a good thing. I mean, he's got the nasty mentality. He wants to make contact. It's just he's a big dude. Like,
Oh man, that linebacker is not a college level linebacker.
Yeah.
That was unfair.
Yeah, and so he's going to have to take an adjustment. But I'll say this: if he can get his weight down, keep his speed, and keep this level of intensity, and eventually kind of grow, it might take a year or two. This guy could be one of like the best because there's not I'll give credit to Thomas Austin with this pool. He's got a certain guy that he's going for, and they're like this. They're big, between 6'5" and 6'7", even taller maybe, and between 320 and 350 pounds. He wants some big, and he wants some mean. And I think at the bare minimum, those two things get checked off with Zechariah Owens.
Wow. I mean, just a massive guy. Don't you just love watching offensive line film of guys like this? Just destroying. Good in pass protection, pulls and run schemes, just pushes guys down. As you can see, his initial contact has a lot of brute force. Now, I will say this morning on Mickey's show, I believe Paul Strelo mentioned that he has lost some weight.
Okay.
But he did say, don't be surprised if he's not on the same program as Jackson Carman.
Yeah, that's
as far as basically you're on the treadmill every other day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jackson Carman at one point got on the treadmill every day. I remember going to practices and watching and interviewing players, and there were two players that were doing things differently. One was Amari Rodgers, constantly taking more balls from the ball machine, and then also Jackson Carman constantly on the elliptical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna probably see that with Zachariah Owens as well. And that's not anything against his game. I love his game. It's just he's gonna need to be at D1 fitness eventually, and that's just gonna take a little bit of time. And that's not gonna say that he won't come in and play really well. It's just overall, I think his finished product, how he comes in, you're gonna like how he finishes at Clemson versus how he started at Clemson, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoy what I see here. People in the comments are really loving Flapjack Owens and the pickup for Clemson. Basically, this makes their third offensive lineman. So they've got a class. A lot of people said 3 was going to be the number. I'm starting to hear rumors that they're looking for a 4th, depending on how things go. So there could be another offensive lineman. But I will say this. The 3 that they got are I think, really good pickups. And so I assume the 4th will be kind of a slow play, because they kind of have the 3 initial guys filling in the backfill, and so this 4th one will be one that they really want to make sure that they get, that really wants to be there and that wants to be a part of the program, and that's going to be the perfect fit for the roster that they have if they go with 4. Rumor is, things I've heard is 4, but I've also heard other people say, no, they're not going to take 4. They're going to take 3, which they already have 3. So all good there. All right. So Houston, a recap of the show for anybody who hasn't come in. The biggest thing that you can do is hit the like button. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m., we do a Clemson-related show on Facebook and YouTube. The best way to help our algorithm is hit the like button and get in the comments. The comments got kind of quiet after 8:20, 8:15. But we appreciate everybody getting in. There were a ton earlier on because come to find out, it's pretty controversial right now with the conference realignment and maybe even Clemson leaving the conference. So we started out with that. We worked our way through the topics of the week. We looked at Peter Woods. His recruitment and his commitment is scheduled for Friday. July 8th at 7:45, 7 o'clock. So check that out. If you, I don't know exactly where it is, but if you go follow him on Twitter, you'll find it. And then we also looked at Christopher Johnson, new running back offer for Clemson. We talked about how offers work and our frustrations with the discussions with fans, but we also understand where you're coming from. And then on the other hand, we finished it up with Flapjack, Zachariah Owens, and looked at his film and him blowing up guys as well. So a big full show for you. Hopefully you got it. After the show, what I'll try to do is, and I didn't do this last week because I was on vacation, but I'm going to try to even go back to last week and cut up the film, cut up the hour and a half show that we do so that you can get small tidbits of highlights that go out. So subscribe to the YouTube channel to get the highlights there. We really appreciate it. All right, Houston, before we go, you got anything?
Well, just tune in tomorrow night for an important recruiting announcement, I guess. We'll find out tomorrow if
we'll see
this is really happening or not.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate everybody over on Facebook and YouTube. We wouldn't be here without you. We started this show. We had like 2 or 3 people watching, and 3.5 years later, here we are with all of you. So we treat you like family. We feel like you're family, and we appreciate you being a part of the show. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.
Tiger fans, Greenville is a wonderful place to call home, and take it from me, a great place to grow your family. The housing market can be an extremely competitive and intimidating place if you don't have the right agent. That's why we recommend our friend and local agent Lana Smith with Live Upstate SC Real Estate. She is a native of Greenville and has been serving the needs of families in the upstate for over 20 years. You need an agent proficient in navigating the world of multiple offers who will put your needs first and guide you through the process. Let Lana help you achieve your real estate goals. Call her today at 864-608-8313. Again, that's 864-608-8313. And let's get moving. If you're looking for a great atmosphere and good food, you have to check out the Charleston Sports Pub. They're the premier sports bar location in South Carolina with locations in Clemson, Greenville, Goose Creek, James Island, Mount Pleasant, Summerville, and West Ashley. Watch all the games while you have fun playing all their games. Tiger fans, we dine there, legends dine there like Taj Boyd, and so should you. Go eat at the Charleston Sports Pub in Clemson every game day. 359 College Avenue, Clemson. Family owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer or warm this winter, give Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. a call today. Give Mark or Jason Trammell a call at 864-224-7655. Again, 864-224-7655, and they'll take good care of you. Tiger fans, we don't just dress for success, we TS for success. That's Tiger Sports Shop. We shop there so much that they practically begged us to be sponsors for them. Not serious, but we do love shopping at Tiger Sports Shop in one of their 2 locations, 364 College Avenue and 1102 Tiger Boulevard in Clemson. If you're not in Clemson to check out the experience, stop by online at www.tigersports.com. Again, tigersports.com for all your game day needs.